A flight attendant dumped a glass of ice water onto a black boy's lap and barked, "First class isn't for everyone, kid." That was the moment everything changed. The boy didn't flinch. He didn't cry, didn't argue. He just sat there dripping, silent, clutching a laptop older than anything in that cabin, surrounded by polished shoes, cold glares, and laughter that didn't try to hide itself. The cabin seemed to agree. He didn't belong. They figured putting him in his place would preserve their little bubble of luxury. They had no idea who they were looking at, no idea what he'd already accomplished, or what was about to unfold 30,000 feet above their heads. It started earlier that morning at the terminal, polished floors, bright lights, and a sea of business-class boredom. In the middle of it all stood Ethan Walker, 13 years old, barely tall enough to see over the check-in counter, wearing a second-hand jacket and shoes that had lost their fight with time. But he had something they didn't focus. That kind of sharp, quiet drive you can't fake. He held his first-class boarding pass like it was a golden ticket, and as he stepped into the premium line, you could feel the tension rise. People stared. Whispers followed him like static. One guy in a custom suit leaned over and told the gate agent, "You might want to check that kid's ticket. He must have taken a wrong turn." The agent, Linda Foster, didn't miss a beat. She flashed him a condescending smile and pretended to check something on her screen. When it was Ethan's turn, she barely looked at the pass before letting out a sugary sweet. "First class, huh?" With just enough venom to cut. But Ethan didn't waver. "Yes, ma'am," he said, voice steady. She let him through, but the damage was done. Eyes burned into his back all the way to the jet bridge. He walked past murmuring attendants, one whispering, "Guess first class isn't what it used to be," behind a manicured hand. By the time he slid into seat 2A, the air was already thick with judgment. Next to him sat Mr. Reynolds, a heavyweight venture capitalist with a matching ego. One glance at Ethan, and he called over a flight attendant. "There must be a mistake." Linda returned, checked the same boarding pass again, then gave a shrug and said, "He's supposed to be here." The tension only grew. Ethan stared out the window, holding in every ounce of humiliation. His mother's words echoed in his head. "They can look down on you, but you never look down on yourself." Then it got worse. A junior flight attendant, Karen, waited until Ethan stood at Linda's request for a routine seat check, then casually swiped his backpack, his only bag, and walked it to the back of the plane. Linda whispered, "Let's see what happens when the little genius realizes his stuff's missing." They didn't stop there. Mid-flight, while serving drinks, Linda accidentally spilled a full glass of ice water across Ethan's lap and notebook. He gasped as the pages blurred, soaked with water and ink and dreams. No one helped. She tossed him a few napkins and scolded, "Try to keep your area clean." "Mr. Reynolds used the moment to complain loudly, "I didn't pay for a first-class seat to sit next to this." And just like that, Linda offered to move him into a better seat. Ethan didn't move. Not yet. Not even after they tried to freeze him out, tried to starve his dignity. Even after his throat burned from being ignored, denied water for nearly an hour. Even when Miss Cartera's socialite and designer, everything snapped a photo of him on her phone, posted it online with the caption, "This is what first class has come to. Dream on, kid." He still didn't flinch. But when Linda returned with one final blow telling him he'd be moved to economy because he didn't match the airline's image, Ethan stood. And then he made a call. Just one. "Uncle Marcus," he said quietly, "I'm on flight 427. There's been an incident. Could you have someone check my profile through the internal system?" 2 minutes later, the plane shifted. Captain Robert Mitchell, a senior pilot with decades in the air, stormed into the cabin like something was on fire. He walked straight to Ethan, removed his cap, bowed slightly, and said, "Mr. Walker, I want to personally apologize on behalf of Skylux Airlines." Silence. Everywhere. The captain turned to the stunned cabin. "Mr. Ethan Walker is the National Young Inventor Award winner, a Presidential Science Medal recipient, and a current contributor to NASA and MIT aerospace research. It is an honor to have him on board." You could feel the shame crack across every polished surface. Linda's face turned white. Miss Carter lowered her phone. "Mr. Reynolds stared at the floor like it might swallow him. The captain offered Ethan a private suite. Ethan? He declined. I'll stay here, he said quietly, returning to his seat still damp, still notebook klesput unshaken. And in doing so, he made every single person who had doubted him feel it. Linda Foster didn't finish that flight. The lead attendant handed her a form and told her to prepare for immediate dismissal and investigation. Her clipboard clattered against the galley wall as she stumbled through a half-hearted apology. Amanda Carter deleted her post, but it was too late. Sponsors dropped her. Her luxury brand imploded overnight. Reynolds lost a $20 million deal. Footage of his tantrum went viral in the business world. Investors pulled funding. He went from tech visionary to cautionary tale in less than a week. Ethan didn't say much. He left the airport quietly, climbed into a black car sent by the institute sponsoring his research trip, and got back to work. While social media exploded justice for Ethan, trending worldwide, he kept designing satellites. A few weeks later, Amanda Carter used her remaining wealth to launch the Walker Foundation dedicated to STEM scholarships for kids like Ethan. Linda started speaking at schools about implicit bias. And Liam Brooks, the passenger who said nothing that day, enrolled in law school. Said he'd never stay silent again. Ethan didn't need revenge. He became a symbol, not just of intelligence or talent, but of grace, the kind that holds firm when the world tries to break you. So yeah, Flight 427 started ugly, but it didn't stay that way. Because sometimes the most powerful protests don't need shouting. They just need a kid in soaked jeans and busted sneakers who refuses to move. Now, let's hear it. What would you have done if you were on that flight? Drop your thoughts below. Who got it right? Who crossed the line? Justice, prejudice, silence, let's talk about it.